Hi every Marvel gamers, here is Ruben. Today I'm talking about what beginners should do when game comes out. So mark on the dates, June 18, they've soft launch in Philippines, and June 25th, global launch in specific countries, and other countries need to wait for their announcement. So I've created a brief beginner's guide about how to play Marvel Mystic Mayhem and understand its mechanics. The game is not fully out yet, so some things are subject to change. Most of these things that I am covering are just going to be how the basic systems work and how the overall mechanics operates. So first thing we have is the dreamscape. The dreamscape is filled with a bunch of stories, challenges, and events. When you first start off the game, you're going to be prompted to do the story mode. The story mode, it first covers Scarlet Witch's story. The story is basically a breaking ground of how to navigate your characters throughout certain missions and understanding the fundamentals of how to play the game. The story is filled with a bunch of great things. It has cutscenes, comic-like pages that showcase the story, voice acting, background, music, everything you basically want in the story it basically has. It's really intuitive, and the devs really did put something fantastic together for this story, like many other games not have. Next up, we have our challenges. We have Battle Bonanza, Treasure Hunt, runeraid, and Fabled Finds. Battle Bonanza is basically the resources you need to level up your characters and certain items you need to progress in the game. So leveling up your artifacts, your highlights, and again your characters, those are the things that you mainly need to level up. Next we have Treasure Hunt. Here, these materials are used for extending your characters. Next up we have runeraid. It is for increasing your skills for your characters. And lastly, for Fabled Finds, it is for gathering artifacts. I do think I love Fabled Finds the most. You don't really get access to artifacts as quickly as you want because they're a little high level at the time of the beta. They might lower it depending on the time the game comes out. Next up we have is Momento. Momento is a puzzle-like story, if that makes sense. So essentially it covers over the main campaign story, right? But mainly the pages of it doesn't really cover like the whole cinematics, but you move across the board and you have to do it in a certain amount of requirements. So it might be move to the end of the boss under 7 rounds or defeat the boss within a certain amount of seconds.
Basically, you have these requirements and you need to do them under a certain threshold in order to get the maximum completion. And from this stage, you're able to get things like your dream gems and some experience points to level up your account. Next up we have is Nightfall. Nightfall is the boss challenge. What you do need to know about this, though, is that there are a certain amount of difficulties within the boss. So you might have easy all the way up to like level 50 or higher. Maybe it's challenging. So you really have to set up a team of different variations to really understand how the boss works and like try to get ahead in the best score that is able to be achieved. But if you do compete the boss within a certain amount of time and get a certain high score, you're actually able to get a certain amount of rewards from completing that. Here you can get dream gems to awaken your characters. And lastly, for the dreamscape, we have Gameofkhonshu. This game mode is actually particularly for like the later half of the game. Like you don't get this until like way beyond. But it has little PvP kind of mode where essentially you are able to face off against people, but it's not like real-time fight, but you're able to use relics to put on your characters that increase their overall hero level within the game. It offers or it multiplies them depending on the relics that you get, and you do get a certain amount of characters to use. The max is 5, and they give you a certain amount of characters to use too. So it's not like just your own, and you basically need to get 8 wins overall within the rounds, essentially, and then you win the game. But the problem is it is kind of challenging because some people, they do know how to use the relics to their advantage, and they know how to really work around it. But It has some really better rewards, too. You get artifacts, experience points and credits, everything like that. Next up we have is Mystic Clash. Mystic Clash is the kind of PvP game. However, it doesn't work like your typical PvP. Throughout the entire PvP match, there are 6 fights. You have to do all together. Ideally, you want to win 6 in a row. There's a chance you might win 6 in a row, but there's a chance that you might not, and that's totally okay. But whether you win or lose, you're actually able to upgrade the characters that are provided to you. So let's say you win a fight. They will ask you, do you want to add a star to your rage characters or to your mystic character, something like that? And they will give you a star, but it's randomized. It's obvious that you only have like one range character or one mystic character, something like that, right? And the goal is to beat the opponent. I'm not sure if it's real-time PvP. It might just be it might be a bot, but like someone's actual real account or actually be real-time. I'm not 100% sure. Here, if you win and you also get dream gems too, you will get the keys. Next up we have is the summon. So as of the beta, the summoning consists of 2 summoning types. We have summons for characters and summons for highlights. In my personal opinion, what you want to do is probably focus on your characters first. However, highlights are not bad, they're actually really good, but without characters, your highlights are essentially useless. So focus on your characters first. At the time of the beta, summons cost 750 dream gems, or 5 of the keys. We'll check out for Ray Gems turn in the keys. Just save up those keys from when you need it, and your dream gems too, because you never know when a character that you love will come to the game. Here in the store, you can get a wide variety of things. You can get shadow keys, you can get materials for leveling up your characters, credits, formulas, and you name it, basically anything you want. I don't know about artifact and highlights, but usually it's mostly anything that you want is basically in this store. Now moving on to the characters. Here the roster in the game is divided up into classes. So we have Rang, Controller, Defender, and Fighter. Those are all the classes in the game. And also there are types of characters like Mystic, Mutant, DNA, things like that, but they don't inherently matter in my opinion. They mainly focus around the class types. They do give you some opportunities to use characters that you haven't been able to pull in the summon. So for instance, I wasn't able to pull Doctor-Strange for a long while, so I was able to use him as a trial character. You aren't able to level up them to certain levels, however, they do have a threshold of leveling, as in this herd of level. They can get to at level 30, but they increase the leveling, but you can have these trial characters, and you can use them and equip them after you hit the level threshold, so that is something to take note about the character. Now equips. It's divided into 4 sections. We have Skill, Artifact, Highlight, and Soul Saga skills. It is where you're able to upgrade your character skills that you're able to use in battle or things like that. The Artifact section is where you can equip the artifacts that you gain from Fable Finds or other missions. For Highlight is basically the same thing. And lastly, Soul Saga. Soul Saga is basically when you get a dupe of the character that you have. Once you get enough dupes, you're able to put those dupes into your character. Next up we have is the Alliance. Here we have certain missions you could do to gain certain amount of rewards. And the rewards are like artifacts, you just get a lot of good stuff here. When you complete all the rewards at the end of the week, there's a Alliance shop where you can get materials of your choice, and there's also an Alliance ranking as well. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned about the Beginner's Guide. Here is Ruben. I see you in the next Marvel Mystic Mayhem video.